Yeah, just whatever you want.
Well, it really depends on what rant you want to get into.
Why do I have to rant? Why can't it just be, let's just shoot the shit. Let's just basically have a hangout, a
I
limited
see.
hangout.
So there's a big podcast that is they had like a almost like a breakup fight while they were recording.
Oh,
Basically,
really?
the podcast called Frenemies. This one like a bigger one. It's H3 Productions. So Ethan and a girl named Trisha. I'm not too familiar with their content, but they have a big following, and essentially um, during the time that the recording, they were disputing about ownership of the company or how much control they have. How much control she has in the production of things, and she felt like even though she gets 50% of the revenue, she
Yeah.
felt like she didn't have as much input in what they do, and she felt like he was controlling more of the things, and it was just kind of awkward, I guess, because they're kind of fighting back and forth, and then afterwards they took it onto Twitter, and then you could see like the battle. So
So they're not gonna have their show anymore? Is that what's going on?
it sounds like a breakup. Yeah, it sounds like the show's essentially over,
And
and
they were just friends. They weren't like a couple or anything.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, well, the other guy's married, but yeah, they're just friends.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
All
so
right.
it's a question of should you do business with friends or
It's not really
always be
business
alone?
though. I mean, I guess once like money's involved. I mean, why didn't I wonder why didn't they just fucking split it equally? I
They
mean,
kind of some of it. I think they did. I think he takes 5% to pay for production. And they both are YouTubers, but primarily Frenemies is hosted on his channel H3, and because I think he does most of the editing and stuff, or his production team does the editing. So he only takes 5% from revenue to pay those guys, and then 50 of whatever's left goes to her. So I think she still makes a good amount from the podcast. I think maybe the issue is more likely that she didn't feel like her voice is being heard, even though she is like a partner. And I think that's the challenge, right?
the fucking her voice not be heard. It's just two people. It's literally just like clapping with both hands.
I mean, in some partnership, that is how it is. You have like a dominant partner, right, who kind of makes the decisions, and you have a more of a silent partner or an unvocal one. So
I don't know,
that
man.
might be the situation.
That'd be hard to do if it's just a show of two people talking.
Well, in front of the camera, it's two people talking, but you still have the behind the scene. But yeah, you could. I don't know what other dispute they had. It was mostly like I think formats of the show or segments of the show. She like I guess she had some ideas and maybe her ideas weren't heard. And it also sounded like she wasn't happy with the hires that they have for the production, but she was wondering why she doesn't get input on who they hire and stuff. Which I guess in that sense, I agree with the other guy because it's his production team, so it makes sense for him to just hire people. Like I don't know why he would need to consult.
Whatever. Who gives a fuck? What was their show about, anyways?
um, just like ours, they just talk about current events and stuff, and just give their own commentary
Ah, the
from.
competition.
Yeah, except
Good.
we are nobodies in their
Good.
eyes.
Good. It's great that they imploded. More loot for us. For us, the vultures. That's we just scavenge at the crumbs. So them just blowing up means more crumbs for us.
I
Excellent.
am I am curious what is the pyramid of podcasts like? How many podcasts goes unheard versus how many
Oh, there must be
are
so
all
much.
heard? It must be,
So
yeah.
much. Oh yeah. It's very because it's so easy. Basically we start all this just because we can just like shoot the shit, right? That's literally
Yeah.
it. I mean, like, fucking, we don't even do much. of like there's no like vision or goal or anything. It's just literally just laxative diarrhea recorded down in audio format.
Yeah, but one day it could turn like you just get that one like Joe Rogan shout out, and then suddenly you become a huge production team.
Man, yeah, that would be great. And then you'd probably get just the money that people would be making for this stuff. You could probably make like, you're already your salary wage just for moderately successful, whatever.
And then we'll have the same dispute like Destiny Childs or NSYNC, where the lead host would want to form his own band or go solo.
No, I mean like I just don't get why people, I yeah, I maybe they'll say, "Oh, you don't know until you're there," and then you become, I don't know, I guess, what, you turn into some selfish prick once the success gets your head. I guess they'll say that. And maybe they're right if, who's to say who turns into that. But I don't know. I just see it like, fuck it. Like, even if shit came in, I don't think I'd fight anybody about it. And if people wanted to go and fucking do other stuff, obviously
Mhm.
that's the whole fucking point.
So
This is
you're uh you're curious why people change when money is
No,
involved,
I
or
get it. No, I like if this became our prime money earner, then I
yeah,
guess everybody would be like, well, I guess naturally everybody would just be like, they spend more time on it, I guess, right? Like if
yeah.
that was the prime money earner, and then we'd like focus, like you not let's just say enough to like quit your job and live really comfortably just by doing this shitty podcast. Then I guess everybody, that would be pretty sweet deal, sweet gig for everybody, right? But then I don't think I would be like, yo, nobody can take vacation or anything, or some bullshit like that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, fuck, like it's literally just like by stroke of luck and whatever opportunity and yeah, and your talent and time that whoever puts in, fucking this because if it becomes successful, that'll be the reasons for it. But at the same time, I just don't see like once it gets to your head and then you fucking like burn your own show and shit like that. I mean, I just don't see like it just get. I don't see like. I
You don't
guess to me,
see it's
I
not
guess
worth it, right?
yeah, I just think it's stupid. I mean, there's plenty of like successful people out there that didn't fucking scorch the earth, right? As soon as they got like whiny about something. So
um yeah, I don't know.
there's plenty
There
of
are.
people that don't like fucking blow themselves up over minor shit.
Yeah. I mean, though the conversation they had definitely should have been, you know, privately talked about. So,
Who gives a shit,
um,
man? Like this is someone else, fucking other people's lives that they can't handle themselves. Who gives a shit?
well, I think it's more of I think I'm more interested in the general idea about business with friends.
Hmm.
If it's better to just go do it on your own, that way you have all the say, 100%. Or when you have a business partner, it can be difficult because my friend, he started a business in like an engineering kind of business, and he basically what he did is he ran the details are not important, but basically he started the company and he hired a key employee that gave him a key contract, and because of that he gave that employee like kind of some rights to his company, I guess, so like
Oh,
25% or
okay.
something like that, right?
I see.
And the challenge I think was he didn't really know this person too well, this employee, and even though he got the contract through him and stuff like that, he was kind of like a troublesome employee. Like he was kind of confrontational and stuff, and gave him a
Oh
lot of
no.
created
Oh
a lot of
no.
headaches and stuff. And like he wasn't like a business owner; like he was an employee. Though, like because he has shares, he is kind of like a business owner in a sense, right? So his
Hmm.
decision making, or I guess he was not invested in the company as much as he was, right? And
So
so,
they were like good friends before.
I'm not sure what they were before.
I
They
mean,
were
that's the whole
okay.
fucking that was the whole like central point of this, right? Like
Yeah.
not to get in business with friends. If they weren't friends, then this is a nothing point.
Well, I
This is
guess
just another one where people just got in bed with like bad business
I
partners.
guess the challenge for him was because he knew his situation. So like he was like the breadwinner and they have a young kid and blah blah blah. So it was really difficult for him to just fire him, I guess. And I guess it's hard for him to fire too because he owns part of his company and all that stuff. So
Yeah, get wrecked. Fuck.
yeah, it was a hard decision. I think in the end, I think due to the downturn of the economy, things didn't work out anyways, and I think he dissolved the company at some point. But
Hmm.
it was like I don't know, it was very troublesome. Like dealing with people is tough.
Yeah, it can be. I mean, yeah, fucking, we always hear like the terrible nightmare stories, but like fucking, there's plenty of people that are like buddies and friends that make something, go into business together, and they're fine. And I think at the end is just fucking, yeah, people can just turn out to be assholes, I guess.
It all
But
is it's a whole like relationship, right? Because like one is you want to be like I think one thing I think a lot of people think about is equality, right? How much work am I putting in versus how much work he's putting in, kind of thing.
yeah, especially if it's
Like
going bad. Usually, if it's going good, it kind of gets papered over all that stuff, right?
yeah,
Whereas
when
people
things are
are
going
willing to
good, things are
overlook.
working. People don't are too busy with other things. They don't care, right? He's like, yeah, do whatever as long as you get it done, kind of thing. It doesn't matter,
Yeah.
right?
Well, if
But
shit
when
hits the fan and the pressure's
Mhm.
on, people feel like they're boiling in the room. That's when the
that's when things go well. Even I think even good opportunity can turn sour, right? Because when you're saying like, let's say Google's calling you and wants to buy your company, then
yeah,
suddenly the whole like 0.5% versus 1%, or who owns what shares becomes a huge
who did
argument.
whatever work and shit.
Yeah, exactly. So that's it's challenging. Actually, funny story because I've been following this guy named Justin Kwan. He's the guy who created Twitch.tv. Like he's
Mhm.
one of the creators, and he's starting a YouTube page now, and he talks all about like all the beginning works of the behind the scenes of how he started Justin TV, which became Twitch.tv, and how he sold the company to Amazon, all that stuff.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah,
like the Kappa face, right?
yeah,
The infamous Kappa. So what happened with that one was during the time when they were building Justin TV, they were talking about building a chat, and they had these emojis or emotes that were just for the what do you call the founders of the company, right?
yeah,
And they gave that uh, task to the intern, um, and then so this intern he he found that emote stuff, and then he thought, oh, this is cool. What if I put my smirk face on there, right? Because
yeah,
he put it there as a troll, right? And then he did the whole Kappa thing as like a hidden secret. And
yeah.
then I guess at some point got let go and whatever. And because at the time when they were building Justin TV, they weren't good managers, so they didn't really oversee everything that people do. So they had noticed it had existed. And then suddenly people just were using Kappa like crazy when someone discovered it. And then at that point, when they found it out, it was too late for them to revert any of the code back to get rid of it. And then it just became something that they just like, oh, this is the culture of Twitch, and they just accept it as this. So
Ah,
like, it's kind of like that tale of ask for forgiveness instead of for permission. Because if he had asked for permission, he probably wouldn't been able to do what he did. But now I guess he's famous for that.
and yeah, and whoever listened to this episode, they would have been having a treat from this little bit of Twitch lore you just dropped on everybody.
Yeah, the Twitch lore is it's interesting. Like how he talks about like how when he sold Twitch, like the idea of how happy he'll be, like with all the money and success and stuff, right? And he talked about how he got depressed after he sold the company and stuff, and how it took him a long time to figure out what happiness was. He became more of like a monk kind of character. Like he has like the
Fuck.
long hair. He talks very like calm and cool, like a yoga instructor kind of thing. But like
He
at the
is
same time, he's a very brilliant person.
he thinks
But
he has transcended in the mortal realm. He's
he
reached
talks and he talks that way, but I don't think he. Oh,
he's
I don't know. He does probably think that way, but I'm not sure. Like he's like those crazy people. Like at least he has the money to show for it, kind
He's
of thing.
reached nirvana as a
Like
bodhisattva.
you know how like there are some gurus that are just they came from nothing. They're just bullshitting you. So like
Yeah.
at least he has a success story. Like he is a billionaire. So for him to be whatever he is now, it's fine, I guess. Like and his advice do make sense because he has experience. The ones I hate are the gurus that they lied about being a guru, right? Like the term guru doesn't even make sense because
Mm.
anyone can be a guru, right? But like the idea of guru is supposed to be like the master, right? Like the one that knows it all kind of thing.
I guess so. Isn't it like an Indian word, an old Indian, or at least even an old like Sanskrit? I don't know.
Is it a religious word, maybe?
Oh fuck, I don't know, man. I whoever, yeah,
Anyways,
whatever. Whenever you have time, you can pull out your
in the
phone.
modern age, I feel
Who
like
gives a
that
shit?
word has converted is like a sales term, right?
Oh yeah, like
Like
champion.
it just
Like
means salesman.
yeah, like
What about
yeah.
champion?
Well, champions like that too. Like a lot of companies just like to fucking throw that term around for like champion. Like this is the like whatever GIS program champion. He's supposed to be like, or like the person's supposed to be like a fucking like a guru basically. Champion and guru is kind of used like as those
Oh,
terms in some kind of company.
my company
And
has not adopted champion yet.
it's usually it's just some bullshit like I don't know bullshit. It's with the corporate culture bullshit like Six Sigma, fucking all that shit. And then it's really like an HR defined sort of deal, I guess. You get the boardroom or you get like the CEO sit around with a bunch of at a board meeting saying, we should have a new classification of people. And so then I can fucking hire one of my university alumni buddies in this bullshit position that I'll create. It'll be like stress management champion or
I
something
feel
like that.
like the word champion is like I associate it with like a video game term, like League of Legends. Like when it's like your hero, they call it a champion. So I feel like whoever in your company started that was a League of
Oh, it's
Legends
not
player.
my company. No, it's not my company. No, no, no. This is the whole thing.
There's
Like
no thing. Oh, I see.
this was like even when I was working in the field, the oil services company, they already had this term, and it was like it just kind of denoted some like specialist, but like a
Yeah.
specialist because they already had the term specialist and the physician specialist, so they just had to come up with another word for the specialist.
So I'm not sure if I talked about this topic, but do we talk about entrepreneurship? Do
Oh
we?
fuck, let's do it today. This is what it's meant for then.
Yeah, I read a paper. It was about how entrepreneurship on average it doesn't make you as much money as if you would just work a 9 to 5 job. Like
Yeah.
so the issue with entrepreneurship is almost like a culture. It's almost like a religion,
Yes.
and
Oh my God. Yes. Yes.
the thing is that it has
That's
a
precisely it.
issue called survivor bias. So what that means is that you only hear success stories. You
Yeah,
don't.
the success stories. Yeah, exactly. You don't hear about the people that fucking failed out. That's the
Yeah,
bias.
exactly. So to give you some good example, there are in YouTube there was a huge guru issue. I also call these guys gurus, but there was also this guru epidemic, which is like you might see their ads on YouTube. Like there's the one that he's like, "Oh, look at
All
my
the
garage,
fuck time.
these
Yes,
nice
I hate that.
cars," and it's like, "How I got these cars? Don't hit skip." I read all these books, da da da. And this guy's named Ty Lopez, right? And
Yeah,
then
yeah,
he,
yeah. That fucking asshole.
and then when you look into him, how did he get whatever he got is or what does he do? And basically what he's trying to do is sell you a course, right?
Yeah,
And there's other guys like there's a guy named Daniel Locke. He's like a Vancouver guy.
yeah,
He has all these sales pitches and stuff. He's an Asian, sleek black hair, blah blah blah. And he shows you this nice mansion and he's like, if you want this mansion, watch my video, blah blah blah. The issue is that the mansion's not even his. He rents that mansion
yeah.
in West
They all
Vancouver.
they all show like they put on a show just to be like,
They
you want this
they
fucking, you want to be like this? Yeah, sign up for my whatever the fuck I'm offering.
so that's so number one, the problem is when you see a guru is they're trying to sell you a course. That's all they're trying to do. They're not really teaching anything. They're not giving anything of value. They're just telling you course.
Yeah,
Um,
complete grifter, like
they are
100%.
exactly. Okay, so anyways, this article talks about how in entrepreneurship in America we have actually an inflation of entrepreneur. There are too many entrepreneurs.
Yes.
All right, and it's the problem with entrepreneurship because you have so many entrepreneurs that being a guru is a market, right? Being someone who teaches other entrepreneurs how to sell and stuff is a market. So the reason why I feel like these Ty Lopez and Daniel Locke are successful in selling courses is because there's a market for it. There are people that want to buy into it. So the thing with entrepreneurship, it's not something you.
But it's not just because there's a market in it of itself. Oh my god! You know what? I just realized my OBS wasn't even recording my mic. Oh, that's not good. We're just gonna have to rely 100% on Craig almost. Ah, fuck. Anyways,
Well, why don't you turn it on? We can start over.
no, I got the earlier audio from Craig. So then if something happens to Craig, I turn it on now,
Okay.
so I'll just get it from OBS later.
Okay. So what I
Um,
want to talk about.
but first,
Okay,
wait. First,
you go
it's
ahead.
not just because of market, but it's also what the fuck do you call it? It's kind of like idealized here. Like it's become something that it's like you want people to be like that. Like there is
Yes.
entrepreneurs are kind of like viewed as heroes.
Yes, they are
Basically,
because
right?
Oh,
Yeah, they're held on a very high pedestal.
that's
So,
right.
like that, people will think like, yeah, that's
It's
such a prestigious thing.
it's almost a luxury item thing. If you think about it, people when they get nice watches and stuff, it's not because they earned them; it's because they bought them, right? And entrepreneurship is kind of like that. You don't need to earn your entrepreneur. Like people who go through these courses, they don't want to be an entrepreneur. Or they don't want to be an entrepreneur in the sense that they don't want to work hard and hustle and all that stuff. They just want to be they want to be an
They
entrepreneur
want
so
that
they can
status.
they want the status exactly. And so what they want to do is buy their way in, right? Kind of like someone who buys a luxury watch or a brand name purse or clothing, right? They just want buy their status in, right? Because
Yeah.
it's not like when you're rich is when you buy a luxury watch. You hit people who are poor buys luxury watches. And so entrepreneurs, the same idea is that people want to buy these courses and say that, hey, I'm an entrepreneur because I took these courses and I know how to sell and I can talk slick and dress and look successful, right?
And yeah, and fucking that's what you're gonna get, especially if the fucking culture and the whole society is basically holding that up as a role model. Where it's like, yeah, you gotta be the guy that gives ideas, you gotta be the guy that sells it, you gotta be the guy literally like they don't even care. You can be a piece of shit, but like they're holding this to a high pedestal. Like, yeah, you be entrepreneurship, right? By whatever means, like as long as you're successful, you're held up as like a paradigm of someone that is desirable to become in this society, right? And,
Yeah.
and you
I
got
do
people
think
flocking towards it because that's that's what's held up. That's what's held up as that like the symbol of like excellence or greatness.
yeah, exactly. And that's the problem, right? But in some social aspect it does make sense, right? Because if you think about wealth and successful people, they are concentrated in certain areas, right? Like say Silicon Valley is very known for this, right? Like, people like the guy who say run Tesla, he's probably good friends with the guy who runs Reddit or
Oh yeah.
Bitcoin, or like they're all connected in some way, right? They all know each other, right?
Oh
It's
yeah.
like a circle, right?
Yeah,
So
the Patreon network is still as alive a thing as it has been since like back then throughout all the other
yeah, back
forms
in
of
the
society.
back in the nobility or the family name age kind of thing, where
Yeah, now it's
wealth
just
is
called now it's just called like connections and networking. Back then it was just like, yeah, you're part of like the nobility or something. The
yeah,
landowning nobility, royal family, the church or whatever. Yeah, now it's
yeah.
fancy. It's fancified now.
Exactly. So back then, if you wanted to be an entrepreneur, you would just marry into a family who were entrepreneurs.
That's one of the ways. Yeah.
Nowadays you buy a course. right? You take a course and you're like, yeah, I took the Tai Lopez course. I'm
Well, I
a
mean, this is more of a
bonafide.
grift. You would have probably a better success rate marrying into a rich family than you do taking one of these BS courses. Because like this, there's not. I don't think there's ever been like a successful, like entrepreneurial billionaire, whatever, that just I took this course and it changed my life. Like I want like probably 90% of these people that come out of these courses, the course didn't do anything for them. You know,
Exactly. And so, like, I think that's this how I listened to or got into Justin or listened to some of his stuff because they did an interview with Justin, and his advice was that the people who are really successful at the top of their game don't do courses. So you don't see Elon Musk doing courses. You don't see Jeff Bezos giving out courses. They're usually the people who are just selling to that market that makes courses, right? So if someone's making a course, they're probably not the person you should be following. Is my advice to the viewers here.
Oh yeah, but people will go into it because this is one of the last like remaining. Imagine if there's like a ship that will take you from disaster. These are some of the last remaining seats that they're selling. That's how they're like marketing it to people, right? Because remember what we said. I think we talked about it a little bit last time, but entrepreneurship only like for things for like entrepreneurs to kind of like find some opportunities. The opportunities that exist, usually they're in some kind of area that by definition is undeveloped. Something hasn't been developed yet.
Yeah, it's
And
something undeveloped or unexploited.
yeah, and then you can make profit by like developing it or whatever, right?
Yeah,
But
and that's
as
that's the issue because it's undeveloped or unexploited. You don't want to tell anyone about it, right?
yeah,
Until you
that's
explore it yourself. So
yeah,
like
that's
these
the
people who's
fucking
selling the
yeah,
course
exactly.
wouldn't make sense because if they were that successful in doing what they're doing, they wouldn't be telling anyone about it. Because if they told people, they couldn't be doing that anymore, right? Because
Yeah,
you would saturate
exactly.
your own market.
The fucking grift is not the actual course. It's not the actual things they're teaching in the course, but it's the course itself that they view as the undeveloped part that they're gonna develop. That they're gonna be the guy, the grifter that's doing hosting the courses. His whole shtick was, oh fuck, I can sell people this idealized like kind of like lifestyle and fucking hope or dream that they want, and that's where I'm gonna make my money. He's already, that guy's already like like carving out a piece of it for himself by just selling them like a grift.
And
And
that was the issue with the analogy back then. When you're following a grifter or a guru, they say, if you're walking through a landmine and you see one guy walk through a certain path and he didn't blow up, you would make sure that you follow his path, right?
yeah,
But that doesn't really apply in entrepreneurship, right? You couldn't do what Steve Jobs does today because
no, exactly.
Apple already existed. You try to build an Apple product, you just get sued for copyright.
There's no way you can make the next competitive smartphone just from your garage now. you
Yeah,
know
exactly. There's no way. Exactly. It's not that analogy totally falls flat. It's yeah, it doesn't work at all.
And the proponents of it would be like, well, it just hasn't been discovered yet. It's out there. The opportunity's out there for someone, the next Steve Jobs, to figure out something to build up and develop. And the thing is, like, these other things aren't like exactly infinite. Like, it scales up with, I guess, the technological development and the societal development, right? But you also hit like a hard ceiling at depending on what level of development is. You can't exactly outpace where you are right now, right? Like you can't think of, oh, I'm gonna be the next iPhone user. I'm gonna create the next iPhone when it was like the timeline of the 1800s. The shit hasn't caught up yet, right? And
Mhm.
but it's a crude analogy, but in a way, it's just saying like we've reached such like a desperate like dire time that people are just trying to find anything that they can find whatever opportunity in, right? But like you're selling everybody an entrepreneurial dream. Obviously, there's not that much, like the things, the areas that still are undeveloped. It's very few, and it's very like I would say a lot of them are actually very like technically technically and needs some sort of proficiency in whatever skill, most notably computer programming and technology and that sorts, right?
Mhm.
I mean, like there's literally you can't have everybody just trying to be entrepreneurs. But that's what they're trying to tell you, like, oh yeah, you just need more entrepreneurs. You're just sending people into the kind of like the meat grinder, right? And obviously, the majority of
Essentially,
them are
yeah.
just going to fail anyways.
So the so in this paper I was reading about entrepreneur, it does tell like the stats
No,
of
did you
like
cut out?
maybe in this sorry, in this day where we're talking about entrepreneurship, and in the paper I was reading and how like entrepreneurship isn't as cracked up as to be, it does talk about some of the key points of when it's a good time to start entrepreneurship and stuff. So a
Mhm.
common thing you might hear from entrepreneur is to start young, right? If you start young, um, those are the best entrepreneurs, and you see a lot of the success stories of people who start young. The problem is, again, those are the survivor bias. There's a lot of people who start young and didn't get anywhere. Starting young is actually a detriment for a lot of people for when you want to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah,
And the
yeah.
reason is that when you go to an employer, let's say you try to start something, you're trying to be an entrepreneur, it didn't work out, and then you're like, okay, well, I'm gonna try to find work in my workplace or the place of study. The problem with that at this point is that because you took that time to be an entrepreneur, you've lost that time of actually developing your skills. So when you look for market jobs, people aren't gonna look at you to say like, oh, you didn't gain any experience in your field, so why would we hire you, kind of thing. And you could tell them like, well, I was an entrepreneur, but the thing is that your skill set is too generalized, right? And companies, they don't like to hire generalized people. They want to hire more people who are, good at their role, kind of thing, right? Like they want to hire more gears in the cog, right? Because people who are more generalized, they also don't see them as someone who wants to stay in the company, right? So you as a if you're looking as a career standpoint, starting young and being an entrepreneur can be a detriment to your career in that
Yeah, I
sense.
mean, yeah, fucking companies are obsessed with credentials.
They are
Absolutely obsessed with them.
experience
So
and credentials, yeah. And
yeah,
like I guess like you could I guess if you're an entrepreneur, you're probably a good talker and you might be able to spin it. But like, you know, it, companies always look for skills, right? And if you don't have that skill, you might not apply. So
I mean,
it's
I think the
really difficult
people,
to prove it.
I think the whole it's just a plug toilet. That's kind of how the society is, and it's there's not like
Mhm.
anything that will like really unplug it. You're just gonna have a small trickle, and it's just gonna get worse after over and over. Cause like nowadays you just have people that they're kicked out because everybody's downsizing or cutting costs, right? So
Mhm.
you get kicked out of the traditional job market, and then oh well, maybe I'll go dabble in entrepreneurship, and obviously it's going to be slim pickings, especially in an advanced economy. You're not going to have you're never going to have as much out there like areas to really dig in and develop compared to how many people there are out there that need to like find work or find something to do.
Yeah.
So I
So
mean, they're screwed. Like it's just a plug toilet. Like,
it
and these
is,
things are
yeah.
not complementary to each other. Like, oh yeah, what you, it's sort of funny. It's like, yeah, you're exactly right. Nobody wants to hire an entrepreneur. Really, they'd rather hire someone that whatever fits whatever credentials or requirements they set out for a job.
Yeah.
And then,
And I think for young people too, like when we're talking about entrepreneur, it's becoming even more apparent that it's like the dream job. Because like if you think of YouTube, you think about pro gaming, you think about TikToks, think about like Instagram, like or influencer in general. That's basically entrepreneur, right? In a
everybody's
box.
going yeah, and YouTube was probably had like the biggest avenue for a lot of people to do this stuff. So everybody wants to be a YouTuber, right? Everybody wants to do whatever.
Hmm.
And you obviously not everybody's gonna fucking make it.
And
Um,
and the thing with the YouTuber is people who are big YouTuber success move to other platforms. So like how do you compete against like a Ryan Higa who's big on YouTube and now moved to Twitch, right? Like he already has an audience. So it's not a fair game in that sense as well.
yeah, I mean, eventually you could see it happen in YouTube too, right? Like, you'll have people that will just fill up the niche areas too, like makeup and stuff.
Hmm.
Like more than likely, you're not gonna have So, it's just going to be harder for newer people to start in these things. So eventually you're going to get the same toilet plug as you do in every in society as a whole. You're going to see it on YouTube and Twitch and all that. And it's going to be increasingly rarer to see like some top YouTuber. It's going to be increasingly rare to see a large amount of new YouTubers making it big. It's just going to be, like it'll taper off as a smaller and smaller number the longer it
Mhm.
goes. Unless,
Mhm.
and then I don't know until the next whatever change or next platform happens, but you'll still get like now that YouTubers and whoever YouTube celebrities are now like an actual entity, they probably dominate wherever they go to anyways. I mean, it's just people are trying to I guess find these things to become good at and try to make a living off. It's just going to get harder like with the real economy too. And then I like how yeah, I find it's funny cuz I think right now the general mood of people is they don't want to be an employee. Everybody's enamored no, everyone's enamored of being an employer, like a business owner, entrepreneur. Like I find that's the zeitgeist of the society more especially these last, 10 years or whatever. And it's funny to me because now they everybody is now you have a lot of simps that are basically for like pro business simps, right? And whenever there's a conflict between employees and employers, you get to hear the more popular argument now where it's like, yeah, well, fuck the employees because the employer is the one that takes all the risks and all that, right? Like very like completely standing as the entrepreneur, small business, big business, whatever, just owner class, right? And the funny
Mhm.
part about that is, okay, well, if you fail as an employer, you just become an employee. That's like at the most, like it's still like if you're trying to get some kind of like if you're trying to sway the argument, be like, these guys are the ones that have it worse. No, I'm sorry. When shit hits the fan and everybody gets smoked, you're like, it's still the class of people that are workers, like employees, that will get wrecked and take all the risks and all that. But I just notice, I've noticed for a time that just the voices that are basically the employer slash entrepreneur, almost like a lobby, like they've become more and more louder with these kind of like it's like spreading the entrepreneur ideology.
Yeah,
And I feel like in a way it's like you said, it's kind of like
a
it's kind of
religion.
just an effect as yeah, it's a religion. It's kind of just taken on that effect. And I think it's out of some sort of like desperation where people are kind of finding that, like the sky is not the limit, that there is actually some limits to all this. But
Well,
I think
that's when we're
I
talking
think it's
about.
cope. I
Mhm.
really do think it feels like cope.
Yeah, in some, well, the term guru, I often see it as a coping mechanism. Popular times is that when someone has a breakup, like say a 10-year breakup or something like that, and they become a guru. I see that often. And
Like
I'm
a
like, oh,
relationship guru.
or a guru of some sort. That doesn't have to be a relationship, but yeah,
Oh, you mean they just literally just pick up something to be a guru of after they've gone
exactly.
through
Yeah,
what,
exactly.
like a really messy like relationship or something that just like brings them down?
Yeah, probably they went through depression, and then I think they probably found someone who helped them through that depression, and that happens to be a guru of a sort, maybe like spiritualism or tarot card reading or whatever it could be, right? And I see, like, I guess I shouldn't say relationship, but any moment where you're crushed, right? You're the lowest of the low, and then you find something. I think human religion does that, right? When you're like an alcoholic and you just drank too much and you lost your wife or whatever, and you're down in your dumps, and then God finds you. It's like that kind of story. Like,
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
so,
people do turn to that kind of stuff, especially when they felt very low, right? And then they do turn to
yeah,
this stuff. And
they turn to that stuff, and they embody it. They become that culture or that religion, right? So,
yeah. Yeah, I
uh,
think in the special
mhm,
case of this, it's it's I think it takes on a very weird character because
Hmm.
it's not like these people are. It's not necessarily like these people are born that these like these people that stand for like entrepreneurship and whatever, all fucking that sort of deal. Um,
Yeah.
I don't think necessarily it stems from loss. Some of it for sure could have been. Most likely,
Oh, you're talking
more
about,
often than not, it's like from losing your job or something. I don't think
yeah,
most of it is from something as traumatic as, like as something as traumatic as like losing family members or
yeah,
people close to you in life.
yeah.
S- I think I'm generalizing. I'm saying most. I think most of it is actually just from first of all, just the fear of not being successful or, like becoming
Well,
just a wage worker. And
that's an
also,
issue. The word successful, like one
yeah,
is people don't even know what that means.
exactly. Yeah, it's successful to them. It's just a barrage of images of lifestyles that you saw on TV or Instagram or whatever, right?
And the other issue is people think of success equals happiness, and in reality that's actually not true.
Well,
Um,
even if you're gonna say like, oh, success is hard to define, happiness is even way harder to kind of pin
okay,
down.
happiness is way hard to find, but I have a tip for everyone. If you want to find happiness, the best way is to pay someone to do things you don't like. That will automatically make you happy, and it's been proven. Like there's paper on it where if you don't do things you don't like, you're actually happier. And the other way to increase happiness is live closer to work. They found that commuting to work more than an hour causes unhappiness. And that if you can find a way to commute to work in 10 minutes or like 15-10 minutes, you're a lot happier. Those are scientifically proven to increase happiness.
Whatever, man. This sounds like a bunch of fucking pseudoscience anyway.
It's not pseudoscience. I bet you take anyone who takes like an hour to maybe 2 hour commute
Really,
to the work,
that's the
you
benchmark for happiness. Like, hey, your commuting time to your place of work is shorter. That's the that
I'm
be a
no, sorry. I'm not saying this the benchmark of happiness is not like I'm saying if you want to increase your happiness, these are
I
for
see.
sure ways. Like if you're just unhappy and you just want to find something to make yourself happier, do those things.
Do the little things. Don't like because your station in life, your position in society will never improve in your lifetime. So you might as well take these small little things that you can do.
In terms of success, why I say like success is not happiness is that if you look at a lot of successful people, when they reach that success, because success is not like a state. It's not like once you're successful, you stay successful or you're done, right? It's not like a finish line. Life continues because once you're successful in one thing, then you're gonna keep looking for more, right? And that thirst for more will just make you actually unhappy, right? Because you're always gonna be comparing with others, right? Because
Oh
say
yeah.
like the
Yeah,
guy Justin,
definitely. I bet your ass that Jeff Bezos is not satisfied. Elon Musk is not satisfied.
exactly. They're
And
not, and
people uphold some of this as a virtue, like, oh, they're always hungry for even more and more and more success.
yeah,
And they're like, oh, that's basically the engine for them to innovate and all that. It's just all fucking
it's
standing
it's
BS.
it's a double edge, right?
Yeah.
In the way of the engine of it does, I guess, in some way advance human society, right? They're looking for innovation and stuff like that.
Well,
The downs,
my argument well actually would
yeah,
be that it's not determined by fucking single people. It's not determined by Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk or
true,
anything. Like
true.
even if you're gonna say, "Oh, look how successful Amazon is," and but then you have to look at how everything in society was built. Like how it developed to be in a way where Amazon or
Oh, I see what you're
online
saying.
buying
You're not
can
you're
actually
not
be a
saying
thing.
Amazon's not the one who made it successful. It's the society that made Amazon
It's
successful.
yeah, it's a holistic picture. Like you can't
Hmm.
just take Jeff Bezos, throw him in a time machine, and go back in time, and you think he's gonna make Amazon again, right? It's not
Yeah,
even necessary. It's not even necessarily true that if you take like successful people now, or smart people now, whatever, put him in another time period, put him in another area, put him in another
they'd be
period of
successful.
time. It's not like they're gonna be. It's for sure they're gonna be successful, right?
I think
Like,
that's the issue with the entrepreneurship, right? Because like, okay, one
well,
is
it's more like idol worship for these people. Like for their big fan base and whatever.
Uh,
Yeah, it's like it is like a religious idol worship.
so I guess one thing I want to discuss is we need to talk about what are the principles of entrepreneurship. So the first one that really comes to my mind, and you mentioned it a couple times, is endlessness, right? For example, there's no end to entrepreneur in the sense that there's always more. Like their success is like there's always constant success and things like that, right?
Yeah.
But failure is also the issue too. So one thing they teach in entrepreneurship is never give up, right? Failure is just a moment for you to learn, right? And that
Mm-hmm.
success is just around the corner. That's
Mm-hmm.
a that's a very dangerous thing to teach someone, right? Because if you tell someone like a gambler, your next coin in the slot machine is the winner. Don't give up,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
you will lose you will lose your whole fortune. At what point do you decide like, yeah, maybe I should stop gambling, right? You can't just listen to the devil or the casino pit boss who keeps telling you, yeah, success is around the corner. Just put your next dollar in. Don't worry about it. Don't look back. Don't look at how much you have spent on
Yeah,
this
even
machine.
even the dealer at the table won't goad you into making another bet. Like not
Actually,
necessarily.
if they run a casino, they should totally use that as their slogan. Your win is just around the corner.
Yeah,
Your
don't
next
give up.
hand,
No, you
your,
just put up
your
billboard. You just put up like flyers all over the casino floor. Don't give up.
yeah.
Don't give up.
like when you're at the exit door, just have posters saying, "What are you, a pussy? You chickening out?" kind of thing, just like taunting them.
Don't give
And
up.
then or to be the bet. Like say you're about to leave, right? You're like, "Oh, I lost 100." Call it a night, and as you're about to leave, like the pit boss gives you another fiver or give you another coin. It's like, hey, why don't you just play another hand? Maybe your next hand's gonna be good, right? And then you like, get you back into the game because that's the idea of casino, right?
Yeah,
Because they win based on the laws of averages. So
yeah.
as long as they can
They
continue
keep you
to,
there. Yeah, as long as they keep you
yeah,
there, it's very likely they can just whatever winnings you had, they're just gonna take it all back. The house always wins.
and I think entrepreneurship is the same problem in that we don't people don't because you're in your own bubble, you don't see the plethora of stories of people losing. Like gambling is different. You do hear people with gambling addiction stuff, but entrepreneurship is in some sense is that addiction, right? Because you're always being encouraged by your peers about not giving up and how successful and hearing successful story and you just got to keep going and push at it, you're going to get there.
It's
It's
even
the
more. I
same
think it's
problem.
you're right, and I think it's even more in a way it's sinister than that too. Because um one of the things that a lot of like one of the famous things are like, society basically individualizes your problems but collectivizes your success or something like that. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you fail, it's gonna be it's pushed that you didn't do enough, you didn't work hard enough or whatever, right? It's
That's right.
individualized. The failures that society would like objectively it would be a thing you can notice in a critique in an analysis of society. Instead, in our society, the majority of people even would say like, no, it's not society's fault, it's your fault. Like you didn't work hard enough, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. And even the whole entrepreneurship culture is like, oh, you can't blame anyone but yourself or whatever, right? Like one of the worst things, like in a way, if you're gonna say generally, yeah, you gotta take responsibility for your shit, yes. But when it's something where you can actually point out like the what went wrong in the systemic overall, like you can pinpoint where in the system of society where it's going wrong, and you say like this is gonna hurt a lot of people. And when it actually hurts a lot of people, when people just literally fail because it's not just because oh they didn't work hard, they could have worked their asses off, but they still fail. Like but the failure is pushed. It's decentralized. It's outsourced to the guy that's trying to do whatever. If it's entrepreneurship, they fail. Like it's your fault. The entrepreneurs that failed, they deserve to fail because they just didn't work as hard. Also, there's a little bit of luck in it. It's literally like the casino luck in getting the opportunity. A lot of it, like a big portion of it, is luck. You
Mm-hmm.
know, but with the failure is just literally, all 100%. It's being pushed on the individual, and that like wrecks people too, right? I mean, like
Rex,
that's where
yep.
you would get the same like the degenerate like stigma that oh he has a bunch of failed businesses under his belt or whatever, right? Like
Yeah.
your spouse might think, oh, maybe I'll fucking leave because he's a loser or whatever shit like that. Or if you want to be like the stalwart spouse, be like, I've stuck through him for all these failures, as if it's somehow his fault or his or her fault,
Yeah.
right? Like almost like a drinking addiction.
I
But
think
that's the
failing at
sinister part. That's definitely the most one of the most sinister parts about this entire thing is that
yeah.
society pushes onto you that if you fail in this endeavor, whether it's even just working, like you get laid off, it's even like stigmatized at
It
some
was your
level.
fault.
It's your
Yeah.
fault, right? Like it's the justifications are all out there for people to pick and choose which one to lay it on the individual who does get grinded up by the machine that is society. And
Yeah.
even if they try to do what society wants them to do, and is advertising for them to do, like entrepreneurship, this the engine of whatever, and you try to go do entrepreneurship, you fucking fail over again. It's still like it's your fault. It's
So I talked to my buddy who's an entrepreneur. Like he started business and successful business, and he sold business, right? And
yeah,
I asked him I asked him about this, never give up mentality and what his opinion is. Like, how do you when do you give up on an idea? And he tells me he sets a hard deadline. Like, if it doesn't make it past a certain point, he just let it die, right? Like you know, uh, he doesn't look for the next corner. Essentially, if he like goes for an idea, it doesn't work, he just let it die. And I think that's a very um, smart way to do it, right? And I think like when we're talking about failure, in some ways that stigma makes sense because some people who fail at entrepreneur, they rack up debt and they keep borrowing money that they don't have to keep gambling at this entrepreneur wheel,
yeah,
right?
exactly, yeah.
So I
But
think in some ways that stigma makes sense. I think for the people who like
well,
say
that the
gamble their own
stigma of
money, it's
you
fine.
could see the sense of it in the thing, but
Hmm.
the whole thing, like the cause of it, the whole sinister part is the cause of it. It's society has pushed you to do that,
Oh
right?
yeah,
Like it's
yeah.
the whole mood, the whole like what's
Hmm.
cool to be, what's like looked highly upon, what they expect people to do. It pushes you to do those things, and when you
Hmm.
fail, it's not society's fault. It's not even the whole system's fault. It's never the whole thing, the whole machinery is never questioned and say, that could have been like these are definite faults, and
Yeah.
these faults are, like pretty big fucking indicators that, like you're gonna see a lot of this shit happen. But no, it's not that. You don't question that. People are basically uh conditioned to question the person that failed, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the meat grinder part of it. Like you are going into the meat grinder, and if you fail, you come out, like you come out as as just fucking ground beef, and that's it. And like, and then if you are the very few that actually get past that filter and you actually latched on, whether it's by opportunity, just sheer stroke of luck, connections, and then also mix that in with whatever technical expertise you had that helped you get in that position to take advantage of the opportunities or connections or even the luck, etc. You know, that is, held up as the paradigm, like you said, like this, yeah, exactly. It's a survivalship bias. Look how great everything is because, this person worked hard and they achieved the dream that all of you suckers didn't. And while the other 99% just literally go through the meat grinder that they all told you to charge forward into, you know, but you didn't come out the other end as that fucking, like being materially off, right?
Yeah. All right. So entrepreneurship, one of the first sign is endlessness. There's no bounds. The
And
other
it's
one,
much more,
mhm,
yeah, and it's also dangerous when that endlessness just becomes like a gambling addiction. Society
exactly.
tells you to keep on doing it
Yeah, and it's widely accepted, right? It's so
widely.
in widely accepted in this religion or cult or
Yes,
whatever you call it.
it is
Um,
as
th-
close as possible to like a religious cult. Yes.
so the next one I want to talk about is ownership in the sense of um, control, right? So in entrepreneurship, they sell you the idea that you're in control. You're the master of the ship. You control how this business go. All the success, whatever you do, your success is yours, right? So like as you were kind of saying that if we took the successful people we have today and put them in another time or another situation, would they be successful again? For the entrepreneur, they believe they will because they will have the skill set. They can make anything be a be the next big business, right?
Yeah,
But
they've
in reality,
basically
that's
become their own protagonists, where like
yeah,
the movie script will make sure that they're always successful. That's what
successful.
they believe.
But that's not true because a lot of people, what we don't know is the luck that's involved. We
Mm.
don't, when we're successful, we don't know how much luck plays into it, right? We have no idea any of that, right? Like if you won a basketball championship, you don't know that, like, oh, it's because LeBron James couldn't play that night and that he gave you the opportunity. You don't know what other factors was there that helped you get that success you got, right? So that's the one thing I think entrepreneur doesn't really talk about is the luck factor. How lucky you are to be in that position, or how lucky you are for your company to be successful, right?
Yeah,
Like,
but it plays into people's psyche. So if you are one of those successful, super successful people, you just believe, yeah, at some point, like it's less about luck and it's more about just me, who I am, the essence of me that got myself into this, into this position.
yeah,
And and yeah, like it's just people, it's no stranger. People aren't strange to the fact that some of these people, they do they are narcissistic. Or even if they weren't before, they turn out to be narcissistic after. Some of them may even think they're just above everyone else, especially the law as well, right? So people like their success in this society breeds this sort of like mentality.
exactly. And I think it comes back to what we were talking about the first point about failure is because of your fault. Is this whole entrepreneurship of like you have all the control, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I think that's where it comes. It all relates to each other in that sense, right?
Yeah.
And in the end, that's the thing most successful people don't talk about is, um, I think some do. Like I know PewDiePie talks about it when he gives his introspective about his career and his fame and stuff, and he does attribute a lot of it to luck, like that he never expected any of this to happen, right? And that he doesn't think that he knew any secrets that no one else had, and he felt like a lot of it was luck that was attributed to it. It doesn't mean you don't work hard, but it does. What I think he's saying is that it's not just him working hard that got him where he got. Is that a lot of it was just luck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And like even like say Justin who sold Twitch, he was lucky in a sense like he didn't know like people would get into streaming, right? He didn't know people would like video game would become this popular or people want to film. Like the whole Twitch.tv idea came from a gag that he had. So
Mm-hmm.
essentially the story was he was creating a calendar app and it was a lot like Google, or they gave a presentation to Google, and then Google listened to it, and like, oh, this is a really cool app. We're considering buying, blah blah blah. Then they basically ghosted Justin, and then created their own Google Calendar, which had a lot of the features that Justin had, and he's like, ah, shit, we just got robbed, right? And so from that failure, his boss is like, okay, what's your next idea? And he just pitched this idea like, oh, I think reality TV is going to be on the internet. I'm just going to strap a camera on myself and film myself and stream it 24 hours kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And, that was the idea. That's the start of Justin TV. And that's why it was called Justin TV, right? And then later called Twitch.tv. And the whole idea was just a gag. And then it just kind of morphed into this community. And then, gamers got into it and it just kind of grew organically, right? And then from there, Amazon bought it, and then just like now it's a mainstream thing. But like from the whole conception, it's just all luck. Like no one, nothing was like things just fell into place like serendipitously, right?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
just
Oh yeah. And one other thing to note here is once you do have that share, once you are that, like, you do amass a bunch of wealth, you do own a bunch of companies or whatever, you do employ a lot of people. At that point, that's when you become, too big to fail. That becomes a real thing. So even if you do fail, your luck runs out. Basically, if you're living in a capitalist society, the government will come and basically bail you out because at that point you're too big to fail. They're worried about what kind of effect on the economy you will have if you as like a major entity fails or whatever, right? So they'll give you
Mhm.
everything that you can ask for. You want tax breaks and shit? Done. They give it to you. You want stock buybacks? You want the capital, the liquidity for stock buybacks, yeah, they'll give it to you. The bank will open up the spigots and give it to you. So, like even the richest people, the most successful people, they'll get hit during the downturn. But the difference, and that's where the phrase, your success is is capitalized by society. But but what was it? The other one.
The
The rich
failure,
enjoy the rich are socialized, but the poor are capitalized or some shit like that. Basically, like there's no help for the poor, but there's tons of help. There's
for
tons
the
of
rich.
societal help for yeah, the rich, the wealthy, the people that own a bunch of stuff. So when that downturn inevitably comes, because like we talked about a long time ago, like capitalism does come and go in cycles,
Oh,
and it's
we're
by
talking about
design.
the GameStop, where the big companies were hedging with the funds and they are getting bailed out by the rich,
Yeah,
right?
that's one. Yeah, this well, it's one micro instance of just this happening still because they can't allow. There's for some reason they can't allow capital hedge funds to fail. But yeah, like you get to that point, yeah, you fail, you make mistakes, you do fucked up shit. It doesn't even matter. You hit bad luck, doesn't matter. There's a cushion for you. There's a cushion and there's a lot of help
Is
and
that
resources will be diverted to get you, the rich person,
isn't that the
on
issue
back
then
back
about
to your feet.
systemic issues? Is because we don't allow big companies to fail. Like if they don't fail, then how can we expect, you know, other people to succeed past them, right? Or take over? Like how do we get new ideas if we're just constantly keeping the old dogs on top?
Well, they will tell it to you where it's like, yeah, but we're totally encouraging new entrepreneurs to exist. And the next Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos is just right around the corner, just thinking up some really cool idea to make you have a liberal wet dream. That
So
is what
mhm.
they're telling you. That's what people have bought into.
And if you look at Silicon Valley, the whole idea of entrepreneurship, of making a company, growing it big, solving problems that people need, things like that, that's the old school mentality. So today mentality is that the dream is to make a company scale very, very fast, and hopefully you get bought out by Google or an Amazon. So companies making money is no longer important today, right? Because like if you look at Uber, they have not made any money. They've been losing money,
Yeah,
but they have a huge scalability. There's a lot of users, da da da. The whole goal is for them to just get bought out by
yeah, by a bigger
uh
entity.
bigger entity, and
You're
it's
you're
all
the smaller
about
fish that wants to be eaten by the bigger fish.
exactly. Like there's no dream of like Mark Zuckerberg building a Facebook and conquering the world. There's no the big players are too big. There's no room for you to do that. It's like successfully. Like you're just gonna get crushed by the big guys, right? Like if you're a Snapchat and you didn't sell yourself to Facebook, good luck, right? Because they're just gonna build Instagram and then just push you out of the market. That's essentially what they're doing, right? Like before people talk about Snapchat, I don't even hear about it as often from the young
Yeah,
kids,
and it's just
right?
gonna be even more hyper intensive. Just the whatever the next iteration will be, it's gonna be around the corner too. Because if you think about it, it wasn't that long ago where Silicon Valley became a thing, especially in the West, right? In
Yeah.
California, it was just thought of like you make a cluster of like these companies that are basically an ecosystem within itself for tech incubation or whatever the fuck, right? It wasn't even that long ago that was like the new model. And then before then, for a long period of time, you had the normal, classic what you think about as like a capitalistic model. Like it's all just indicative that the society, like this technological turnover is just accelerating, but society, the fissures in society are starting to crack even more because as it propagates longer and longer, it's like you shave off the population that is able to even reap the rewards from this, right? It's just less and less and less and less people and less methods to kind of do it, right? And I think the cracks are not only beginning to show, like people are falling through the cracks nowadays. Like the original, like you said, the original whole justification for like organizing society this way is like, hey, all this innovation will give you new ideas, and then you could be the next big thing. Now you've reached a point where people are like, well, yeah, I'm not going to be the next big thing, but I'm going to wait for the already existing big things to kind of fucking buy me out so I can live comfortably or whatever, and make, that's the way to scale up to make capital now, just to literally get bought out by pseudo monopolies.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of strange how we've changed that. And like, I feel like that's also against the entrepreneurship idea, right? I don't know.
It
Maybe.
is. No, it's literally you're seeing the ideology that everybody is being bought into. You're seeing the ideology being just refuted. It's like it hasn't even caught up to what the reality is now, right?
Yeah.
And people, and you can see how people are confused because you'll see all the talking heads and whatever just say the most dumbest things out there, just trying to make sense of it all, right?
Yeah.
Like being proponents of this, be like, this is great, but they're just like, wait, I thought monopolies and shit are a bad thing. Oh, well, it's not a bad thing if it's Apple or Google or whatever, right? Like
Yeah.
it's just everybody's just tripping over themselves. They're trying to make sense of this, where like they're trying to. You can't even you parrot the old ideology, the old way, which kind of reflected the old way of doing things, and the new way is not even like that at all remotely. And the people that are saying, me included, that say, hey, this is a bad thing, and like this is like there's competent material analysis out there that will help you understand it. They're saying like like people should pay attention, and it's going to get a lot worse before anyone thinks anything remotely becomes better. And like all of that's getting swept on the rug. It's just papering over this, whatever they think is happening now there as like society as a whole, papering over it, and just coming out with these weird, like 180 mental gymnastics to try to like justify all of this with this old way of thinking. But you're like, you see it where it's like in the next few years, the monopoly is just going to become a thing. I feel like it's just going to become. There's going to be a backlash to it for sure, but you're going to see like the business leaders. You're going to see like people that write the business articles or tech articles and say and be like, you know what? It's time to take the stigma off monopoly or some shit like that. I can really see that happening within the next few years.
Yeah. I
And
really hope so.
and you know what? It follows the development of it too. Like this is what it's supposed to naturally trend towards. Right? Like we talked about this all before. Like this is what the system is supposed to do. It's what it's meant to do if you follow it. If
It
you
was
partake in
designed
it.
this way.
Yeah, if you partake in this, in the way it's set up, in the way it's organized, this is what it's supposed to do. This is the end game. And that's the end. That's the key part of this. It is you're reaching the end game. This is the end game, right? And the people that are just gonna be too lazy to think about, hey, what's the next stage? You're going to get into a lot of shit. Like shit is just going to start fall apart if you can't square the ends of it. You actually got a rant out of me.
Sorry, no, I was drinking water.
I
Okay.
was like, he's not gonna get a rant on me. I'm just gonna be chill this whole time. No, you got a rant on me.
Well, when we were talking about class, for sure. Okay, so the last one I think I want to talk about was when I think it was like one of the Berkshire guys. They were talking about like gurus in investing world when they're like, oh, take my course and I'll teach you how to buy stocks or give you advice on what to buy and all that stuff. I heard they're also a scam in a sense because they're not gonna teach you the right things, I guess, or that the money, or they're making you risk your money it's almost like the whole GameStop store, right? It's like in the sense of who's holding the bag, as they call it. And
Yeah.
then they're like, the whole idea is like you convince everyone to hold the bag, and then while you're the one selling it, but then you want to like create this narrative like, oh, we're gonna topple down the big corp and all that stuff. So it's like kind of interesting to hear that.
Well, the funny
But
thing
yeah,
about this is no matter how good, I mean,
mhm,
here's the thing about this. Usually when you think about if you get really good, you get really like top of your game in something, whether it's just like sports or even just producing something, right? Like you know, your material, I guess, prosperity is directly correlated to kind of that. But no matter how good you are at reading the markets and whatever, like what actually makes the market or what the economy healthy is totally out of your hands. You're just playing with whoever's like, you're just playing with the money and shifting it around to whoever you think is the best bet. And if you might be a good gambler in that, but something like extraneous or even internal just gives a whole shock to the whole thing. No matter how good you are, how many years you spent as an investor, like if it all tanks, there's nothing you can do. There's nothing in your skill set or your like knowledge that will stop you from fucking losing a lot of money. Like if you're smart, you just run and you'd stay out of the market while it recovers and you come back for the rebound or whatever, right? And that you need capital, you need money to kind of like make those kinds of plays. But I mean, it's just back then when Smith wrote Capital, not Capital, when Smith wrote Wealth of Nations, he basically said like, yeah, like this is not a good thing. Like basically the rentier class, where you're just kind of making money off of like you're making the rent right off of the money off of like whatever it is productive. I mean,
mhm,
stock speculation, especially all the financials nowadays, like everybody that has whatever good financial acumen or whatever go to the big schools to become like a Wall Street broker or like whatever. I mean, they're expending all this energy to get in on money that is literally that makes up the bulk of like the advanced economies now, and
mhm,
it's really useless in regards where if you look at society and be like, hey, if there's problems that need fixing, you need the competent people to get in those areas to fix. Well,
mhm.
the competent area, the areas that need fixing, there's nobody's gonna go fix them. Everybody wants to do this useless thing that's basically just speculating on wealth to make more wealth. And when
Oh yeah,
shit
I mean
happens,
that's the idea of entrepreneur courses, right?
yeah, and then
Like
when
they're
shit
not
happens,
solving any problems. They're just capitalizing on the people trying to make money. It's
I,
ridiculous.
I mean, yeah, like just if you just see the whole thing, the whole thing just seems insane, right? I mean, like, how is like why does anyone think that this is going to be all right in the long run? Like,
I think
why
people
would
don't think about it. People
they
aren't
don't?
really thinking about it. Yeah.
You all obviously people don't like forget about this, but even like the climate, people don't care, right? And even like vaccines, like you'll get a
Um,
sizable amount of people that just don't believe this shit.
I totally noticed the climate. It's like the hot days are really hot, and it's just bizarre.
I mean, it's just people would rather just put their heads in the sand, and well, the economy is one of those things. You
Yeah,
know,
they just yeah, vaccines one of those things. The economy is one of those things. But yeah, totally.
and these things will event like we're they're going to implode. And like fucking whether you stick your head in the sand and just like repeat, ideology, it's going to implode eventually, anyways. And
Yeah,
I think they've taken the mentality of the wealthy. They have the luxury of this thing. Hey, when it doesn't blow, whenever something bad happens, all they got to do is just pick up and leave to go to wherever for and let things die down, right? I don't know. I think even like the poor people are having that mentality where it's like, oh, I wish I could just leave to go to fucking Mars or go to some island or something, wait it out. Just basically was wait it out.
actually, well, that talk kind of reminds me of like what's happening in US right now. They're having a worker shortage. Like there's a lot of workers, especially in retail and like airports that aren't returning to work because of funding that the US is giving for assisting you for the COVID, all that stuff. And people are just like, well, why would I go to my shitty jobs, right? And it's basically kind of like a strike, right? Like a peaceful strike where people are like, why would I go to a job where I make less kind of thing versus
Mm,
a handout, right?
mhm.
And while this makes handout look like the problem, but the real problem is employers just aren't paying people enough is the issue. And now companies like the airports are trying to give bonuses to people and trying to convert people to full time, and they're so short staffed right now because people are getting vaccinated. Traveling is becoming a hard market, right? People are
Yeah,
flying more now.
yeah.
So, but the thing is, I think what we're experiencing post
Mm,
COVID, well, maybe not post COVID, but like as we're getting to the world post COVID, is that people aren't fast at rebounding, right? Because we shut down for so long that when things are reopening, they're reopening at lightning speed, and people just aren't ready for it. Like they haven't hired the people, they haven't hired the staff they laid off, right? They haven't built any of that stuff. So now that things are reopening, everything's behind. Like, and we even see that in supply chains, right? With COVID and stuff, because people order things just in time, because everyone started canceling their orders and stuff, and no one, built a backlog or a stock of things.
mm.
Suddenly, everything's on demand, right? So you start hearing things like, "Oh, boba shops they don't have any pearls left," or um, "Computers don't have enough chips left," or like everything's like that. Like Taiwan, you hear them a lot, where they're the only chip maker, and they need to supply the stock to the whole demand of the world, and the demand is growing, and we just don't have enough chip makers anymore because we
Well,
just
they're also facing a water shortage. Also,
yeah.
that's why well, a water shortage and also a power shortage at the same time. Well,
So like so
the
I think that's the
ineptness of
thing
their government. So like TSMC is saying like, yeah, there's gonna be a lot of orders that won't
shortage,
get fulfilled. Yeah.
and that's the thing is like we like there is a cost to efficiency, which is resiliency. It seems like, right, that narrative of like by being so efficient that you're just not resilient because any like small wrench suddenly your whole thing's go out of whack, you're
Yeah,
screwed.
yeah. I mean, a lot of this is literally is generated by just decentralized market, right? Like the ones
Mm-hmm.
that aren't as adversely affected would be the ones that have the most control over their supplies. By necessity, it's a more centralized. Like it's a planned. Their activity is it follows more of like a centralized kind of plan throughout the entire like whatever. If they have control over their supplies and raw materials, they can weather it no problem, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
like you said, like the ones that pursued extreme efficiency based on decentralized free market, they get wrecked because
yeah,
any sort of disruption along any kind of that chain, you get wrecked, right?
yeah.
And
But
something
that's
as
but that's an issue is because the whole world started doing that, right? Like
oh yes,
North America started decentralizing all their manufacturing and all their like factory to get from China and stuff because they make it cheaper. But they didn't realize, like I guess no one really thought about it. It's like, what if we have a global pandemic and the whole world stops?
well
Like
the
who's
offshore, yeah. I mean,
like no one thinks about these disaster plans, right? No one plans to fail. That's the issue.
yeah, I
No
mean,
one.
you know what though, like the people that if you were talking about like yeah, I know what you mean. Like most of the people, especially planning the think tanks, economists, especially in the US, probably they're like thinking, oh, it was just gonna run at maximum efficiency forever. And it's just gonna get more and more efficient. And then yeah, what happens? Well, what happens if it doesn't? Well, that's impossible, and then they get fucked, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's probably there are I want to say just by the probability there probably are people that are saying, hey, this may be bad if something goes wrong or some shit, right? Like that, right?
Oh, I'm
And
sure.
most of the times they just get like, they're just like, well, whatever. You're like, go sit over there. Usually they get that kind of treatment or that kind of thinking as a whole gets that treatment where it's like, nah, right? and but I think like even if you show them what happened during this pandemic, right? And you're like, there is a direct correlation where it's like, hey, if you had more control, if you had like more like the ones that can have more of a hand in planning all of this instead of just relying on just literally the market of supply chains, like you made out of this much better. Like you were more prepared for this. Like you could actually get things started up back again. Like this is like way more. It would be like objectively, you could say something like objectively this did more better than like decentralized supply chains that just wrecked you, right? But
Yeah.
I don't know how much of it are people ready to absorb from this, right? I mean, like
Like you're not sure if people
I
will
don't know
learn
if
from.
Canada or as I definitely don't know the United States is a lost cause. I don't know if Canada would learn anything from this,
Yeah,
and
I don't think they will.
it's
Like I
especially
don't.
odd because there are some things in Canada where it doesn't follow like a decentralized, kind of like a free market sort of organization. Some of it, some industries like they do follow some sort of like a plan, even if it's that minimal, and they do so because they're like, oh, this actually works out pretty well. It's very stable and it's
Mhm,
very like shock resistant or whatever, right? So then it's kind
mhm.
of like baffling where, the entire country doesn't even learn that. And when the shock comes, as a whole, it just gets wrecked. And I don't think people are just going to be like, hey, maybe there's something to this, right?
Yeah. Yeah, like when you talk about vaccine, I think in Toronto for Canada, they do have one
Yeah.
lab that can start manufacturing vaccine in 2022, which kind of seems like a moot point at this point because Trudeau was saying that where people can start applying for
Majority
their
is
second doses
exactly the
in the
majority is
summer.
coming from basically, yeah, foreign
Right.
suppliers,
But,
like that.
you know, I think Canada should start, investing in themselves again and start having their own manufacturing of some sort. So like in because pandemic, we had this is not the last one. That's the thinking that people need to think about is like,
Yeah.
yes, we're gonna work hard in preventing them, but you can't always prevent things,
Yeah,
and
and
you
it
have
might
to
not
have
even
it.
be a pandemic next time. It might just be literally something purely economical that puts a clog in everything, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like if US starts a trade war against China and Canada gets looped into it, you got to make sure that you still trade with someone that's not China.
Or yeah, or everything. If the United States collapses the next day tomorrow, like Canada screwed. Like everything is so linked into that. Like we would be screwed. Forget how screwed we were during the pandemic. We would be screwed if just anything just happens that just disrupts the whole global like supply chain of all this shit.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, and when you say like that was the popular like a lot of people in America, especially in the Rust Belts and the more really poor areas, they had sort of like that inkling that like life has gotten worse for me, especially when all the jobs moved out. I want manufacturing and the jobs to come back to the United States. That sort of populism, because it's like not it's not like organized. It's not really meaningfully directed. People just voted for Trump to get in because that he just said the same shit that they wanted to hear, right? I mean, like for Canada, it's kind of the same way where it's like, the reason that like the whole job, all the jobs, all the manufacturing jobs got offshore because you're following the system. Like it's meant to happen this way, right?
Hmm.
Like, like this system that everybody is so enthusiastic to follow and to proclaim that this is the best. This is the result of it. Like this is not some aberration. This is what it's meant to do. And to bring it back, to try to say, hey, we want to bring manufacturing capacity back. Well, first you have to deal with the systemic issues that left them out in the first place, right? Like the costs and the materials and the sourcing and all that. Basically, yeah, like there's no way you can kind of like just rely on the free market to bring back jobs. You can't even rely on tax breaks to kind of bring back jobs or whatever. Like manufacturing capability, you're gonna have to do something different. And this ties into literally what I just said, where there are some industries in Canada where they do sort of follow some sort of like a centralized planning sort of deal. At the bare minimum, at least they set quotas for something, and that's like the milk industry. And Canada knows about it because remember the last election, Maxime Bernier and People's what was it? What was this shitty party called again? People's
Oh,
Party, PPC.
yeah,
Yeah,
People's
yeah.
Party,
They were
conservatives.
they were gunning for the dairy industry. And what was his reason for gunning for the dairy industry again? if you remember, he was saying that it doesn't follow the free market. You should have opened up the to market competition, especially with the United States, which is all free market, fucking competition
Aren't the
in
dairies hurting in the US?
yeah,
Like,
exactly. Dairy got wrecked, but and dairy you constantly find like disaster stories, especially if the price fluctuates too much. Especially if the if the price of milk goes down too much. Wisconsin farmers just dumping milk onto the ground,
and it's kind of
right?
funny because like Canada, like the food guide doesn't even promote dairy. Like
Yeah,
they don't even have it in their food guide.
I know, and well, the dairy lobby won't like that. But the dairy industry in Canada as a whole has a quota system set up. It's the
Mm,
bare minimum of planning, but it has a quota system set up. So it's actually quite resilient to a lot of shocks, external shocks, market shocks, supply chain,
yeah,
whatever. But
yeah.
and Canada knows like we're not like noobs at this. There's not just the dairy industry, some other things as well.
Hmm.
Have this, have been operated like this. But when it comes to like important stuff like, vaccines, right, that we
PlayStation 5s.
desperately needed right now, or whatever, right? It's important things. Like all of a sudden, everybody's like brains just kind of go flat, and they're like, "Oh no, let's rely on this really unstable way of organization instead." And
Yeah.
if they were going to bring it back meaningfully, like bring back manufacturing capacity, they would have to decouple from this ideological fervor that's as like, hey, we have to adhere to this unrestricted, very decentralized free market sort of way of exchange of organizing production, right? It necessarily you would have to think like, okay, you would have to have the at least the bare minimum of being a centrally planned sort of deal and go further from that. And people are scared to do that. But it already exists, at least even in its minimal form, in in the dairy industry, right? I mean, like it's just a lot of it is ideological scare. People are too afraid to kind of like just accept this, right? Even during, I don't know, and I don't even know if this crisis will change people's minds. Like, oh man, like Jesus Christ, like you went through a year and a half now of pandemic, and Canada still is woefully inadequate to ever rely on its own self for essential stuff like PPE, vaccines, whatever, medical supplies and equipment or whatever, right? I mean, yeah, like people are like, yeah, we should have made these things ourselves. So you're not at the reliance and you're not beholden to other people's interests. But you can't do it unless you stop being afraid of this big boogeyman and start to actually do some sensible like planning on stuff.
Hmm. Yes, I agree. All right. So,
Literally, I'm literally saying Canada would have to become like a socialist planned economy. It has to start turning itself into that. And
so
that's
here's so the whole chip thing. I feel like that's like a problem, obviously, right? How come
what do you
there's
mean, like
no,
the chips, manufacturing chips? I mean,
yeah, like
computer chips,
the, yeah,
semiconductors.
yeah, the semiconductors. There's like
Yeah,
there's so it seems like we just have one company that does it, right? Because like Intel's not no longer in the game.
I
Like it
think
doesn't.
doesn't Qualcomm also do that as well? The U.S. company,
Do they?
Qualcomm and TSMC. I don't know if there's the same thing, but yeah, TSMC is very dominant. But it's also because the TSMC has uh well, it has it's invests a shit ton of money
I heard it's
into
super
R&D.
expensive to start one. Like I'm just
It
curious,
is.
like is someone gonna start one? Kind of like we need another Elon who decided like I'm gonna build a space company, right? We need someone to decide to build a chip company.
Yeah, the chips company is probably at the it's one of the most like capital, not only capital but like technical intensive sort of industries because you're trying to get like you're trying to make the chips like wafer thin, like what was it like last
Yeah, it's super.
7 nanometers, 5 nanometers
That's
or
smaller than
whatever.
wafers.
Oh, yeah, no, like microscopic wafers, right? To try to get into the chip industry, and it's something that you can't just throw money in it, you need to have like not only just money, but also like constant stream of R&D to, keep that technical level to keep advancing, right? Because you need new people, you need to you need to keep up with the advancements in technology. You gotta utilize them, right? And then you gotta, it costs a lot of money, time, people, and material, right? And TSMC is just one of those things where that's all they've been doing for at least the last like 30 years or something, right? Like most of their money, especially uh Taiwan itself, invested like the the government would have like invested a shit ton of money to subsidize a lot of their R&D.
Yes.
They just kept on having that spigot of money, material, research, manpower, and the expertise that comes with just throughout the entire period, right? But um, but it can be like the gap can be closed. It's just it's very difficult and it's very daunting because what you need to do is you need to invest a lot of money. You have to attract a lot of talent. You have to build up the foundation, and you have to do it for a long period of time too, right? And it's one of those things where the United States is very interested to kind of do that, but they don't necessarily have the appetite to start kind of like do like a US made sort of deal, right? Um,
Mhm.
and China's problem is they were just later to the game, so they have to make up for the lost time, right? So that will take a while. So for the time being, like TSMC was probably and will be probably the dominant chip maker for the well, not foreseeable future, for the next couple years to a decade.
I
And
feel
then
like this is such an easy way to end the world. Then you just blow up TMC. That's
I
and
think
the
it just sets back everything by 5 years. So say goodbye to like looking forward to the next the next iPhone
iPhone.
for the next
Yeah.
5 years or something like that. Like
I guess if you
because
want to
eventually
slow time, if you're like world is too crazy, it's advancing too fast, too many technology, you just want to slow time, you just hit TMC,
you blow up TSMC.
and then you buy yourself at least 5 years, right?
I mean, they would. It would be probably, yeah. It would slow down the chip development quite a bit, but no, it won't be that long. Yeah, 5 years or so, then you end up right back at the level you're at with different players, obviously. Because if TSMC if they stop even just a little bit, then there's like they gotta make up for it, and they're quite. If you think about the players they're up against, TSMC relatively would be outmatched. Uh, like give it time. You got like if you're competing with like a state-run company from China to develop
You mean
the
Taiwan?
semiconductors. Well, I mean from mainland China
Oh,
to
I see.
develop semiconductors, like the eventually just because of the difference in resources that they're able to throw at it, they're going to catch up to you, right? So
Yeah.
like so uh Terry Gou is always like looking to try to find some sort of edge that he can kind of retain, right?
Well, I think with market saturation stuff, that's probably his edge, and with the legacy and stuff, right? So, but like that only lasts for so long.
Yeah, he does.
Mhm.
I mean, like the thing about TSMC, I think a lot of the Taiwanese local politics kind of play into it. So right now, Terry Gou doesn't want to invest, doesn't want to be seen as too much of being in a partnership or trying to invest heavily in the mainland because it's politically incorrect in Taiwan to do so. But if Kuomintang wins the next election, which I don't think they will, but if they do, then you'll see Terry Gou uh, uh he'll do like a 180 and he'll be like, yeah, we're gonna restart like or the Fab Labs or whatever on the mainland or whatever, because eventually he knows that TSMC is like the hold that TSMC has over the world is not going to last forever, and if the United States and China gets serious and mainland China gets serious at it, like his share, his dominance is just going to erode over time, right? TSMC's dominance is going to erode over time. So he's looking to kind of get leverage on this and to be like, hey, if I can basically intertwine TSMC with the fates of what's going on in mainland China or even the United States, I'd do it. And
Hmm.
Trump kind of wanted him to kind of be like, oh, why don't you just set up factories in the United States? And he made like the token effort of doing so just to keep up the good relations. But the cost was too great to just literally, like crudely move factories over there. But he kind of his play is basically he wants to hitch TSMC onto like at least mainland China and the United States. So then, when push comes to shove and they feel like, oh, manufacture of semiconductor and fucking uh, and all that is national importance, then TSMC can actually won't get just like caught up and muscled out. They will like hitch a ride. They'll bandwagon on top of the national each respective national developments. That's just my take on it. That's because what I
I think that would have been a good investment, better than the wall in Mexico if they had
yeah.
done the factories. I
Yeah, they
would have.
can't they can't bring them back. I mean, they went to Mexico because it's literally just the cost and the competition, and that's baked into the system. Like you're gonna have shit move away. I mean, like they're complaining about it, but then they love the way their society is organized, anyways. Like the
Yeah.
Americans, so they can't square this away. So you're just gonna get more people that are just losing their minds because it's these basic things in life they can't square away. Like, oh, I've lost my job in my factory for that I worked at for 20 years, and it's gone away because that's what literally the economic system that you live in. So I'm gonna blame the immigrants. That's why. That's the reason. Like
um, mhm.
you go ahead.
I just wanted to wrap up a bit because we kind of started about talking about gurus and entrepreneurs.
Sure, we can wrap up with this final
Uh,
dessert.
well, the one thing I forgot to mention was these courses. They don't teach competence, but they do teach confidence. And I think for people who lacks confidence, these are good courses. So I think like when you talk about like dating and stuff, I think gurus are very helpful. Like if you're not someone who's confident in talking to, say, people you're attracted to, then like gurus are actually very can be useful in terms of
Yeah, it's like
competence.
a
This, mhm.
it's like a technician, but for like psychology. you know?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, they're very good at teaching you confidence. But that's not what people are buying courses for. They're usually buying it because they want to be successful, right? And to be successful, you need to be competent. But that's the problem. Like if you're buying a course, you're likely not a competent entrepreneur because if you were, you wouldn't be spending money on courses,
No, of
in
course.
my opinion. But yeah, that was my take. So I think for gurus, like, is there a guru that you are okay with, like, or you think is valuable in society? Whether it's
Um,
relationship gurus, health gurus, it could be workout gurus.
I don't know. Like most gurus, ugh, fuck, it's just such a fucking loaded term because most of these are just grifts, right? I
Can
mean,
be, yeah,
if something like actually helps you out, like people like if it's something benign, right? And it's not just out to grift you, and it's teaching you stuff that's not gonna make you turn into some stupid fucking bigot or make you just question like sensible, like science or whatever in the real world. I mean, whatever, go for it. Like I don't know, like is there such thing as baking gurus or whatever? Like
well,
like
there's health, like there's people who tell you like what diets
Oh,
you should eat and stuff like as
screw
like
the health. I
veganism.
would say like any way that helps you learn how to cook or something. Those are pretty benign. Those are pretty good. I mean, like, there's not
I
you
mean,
can't do that
there's
up.
cooking instructors, but they don't call themselves gurus.
Well, I
Like I
mean,
don't,
like that
I
just kind
wouldn't
of
say
plays
Gordon.
into
I
that
don't
just
know
kind
if
of
Gordon
plays into
Ramsay calls himself a guru.
no, exactly, right? But it's his role is like that of a guru, isn't it? It's similar. The Venn diagram overlaps with people that call themselves guru, except he's
well,
not selling you a grift, right? He's
well,
just saying
he,
like, this is the
yeah,
recipe, this is how me cooking it, you can cook it too, right?
yeah.
And if you mess up, like, well, okay, well, you can just try again, and you can probably make it pretty good. It's I don't know, like it's I don't even know where the line is now because it's just so synonymous with
I
grift.
guess for cooking gurus, if I was to think of a cooking guru, it would be like tasty. Ones that don't even show you who's cooking. It's just like images cut and edited really nicely to make it so simple. And you're like, oh, I can make that. And then you try and you're like,
But even some
doesn't
of
taste
that
that
is a
good.
grift now. I There's this one Australian woman that basically debunks some of those like
Oh,
those
those food things. Yeah. She
yeah,
talks
yeah.
about like you can't if you do that, it doesn't work. Like you can't microwave
Yeah, and
something
then
to melt something or
yeah, because
uh,
I think one instance it actually like turned out to be a disaster, and a couple kids got really hurt from it
yeah,
because
yeah.
like something exploded because they
And
followed up the
it's back
videos.
in the entrepreneur thing because if yours didn't turn out the way the video showed it, then you did something wrong, right?
Yeah, and then yeah, so that's stupid. But the woman, I guess the Australian woman, who points it out, yeah, she's doing a great service to people. Like, yeah,
I
don't follow this. This is bullshit.
Yeah, I think it's those life hack ones, and I think TikTok has a guy where there's these TikTok life hacks where they have this TikTok is like 15 seconds shows you a quick life hack, and then there's this commentary of like say like your bed or sorry bread with the bag, how there's this girl who cuts a hole and or cuts down the middle and then ties it like a ribbon. And then
Hmm.
there's this TikTok guy, he just like wraps it and then ties a knot. Like, why would you go through the effort kind of thing?
Hmm.
Like all these little life hacks. Remember life hacks used to be a thing? Where they are like
Yeah.
showing you these
Now,
life hacks and then now you're like, these are stupid. Like, why would I do that when I could just do this? But
yeah,
life hacks
it's
is the
become
grifter.
a trend. Oh yeah, it was a grift. It was one of the earlier on grifts that people just loved on the internet. I mean,
People love.
fuck. I mean, like anything that just doesn't harm other people and it actually like betters yourself in some way, right? And it doesn't make you just turn stupid or whatever. I think it's okay. I mean, like
Mhm.
like I usually say like, oh yeah, man, people should not um like put organized religion on such a high pedestal. It should not be given a high place in society. I say that
Mhm.
all the time. But, like I do recognize that, whatever, your local pastor may be the only one doing like a homeless food drive or whatever, right? Or
Mhm.
yeah, if someone devastated by some kind of loss, something like that can, fulfill you, at least if you have like some kind of spiritual yearning or just want to hurt anybody. It doesn't hurt you. It doesn't change you into some kind of moron. Yeah, like just go with whatever.
Like I
That's
wish with influencers, ones that have big following to do things like the church to organize something, like to organize your power for these charity drives or organize things for like, homeless
I
shelters
would
or
not.
whatever it is.
Yeah, and with that vein, I would not say rely on your church, rely on these people for anything of material
That's true.
benefit. Like don't rely on them for like to help you in a disaster if there's like an earthquake and like the donations are just donations and whatever. Goodwill is goodwill. You actually need something much more organized and systemic, right? Like PewDiePie is not
Mhm.
going to be your answer if a building collapses, right? You're literally your government. Has to deal with this, and if it fails, what the fuck's going on, right? I
Yeah.
mean, like, and then that's the same with the church pastor. I mean, all of this thing is just kind of like if you view it as like a qualitative thing, like as a spiritual thing that maybe a portion of people really need, right?
So then, how do you feel about GoFundMe? Because GoFundMe was kind of created as a version of Kickstarter, right, to fund
Yeah,
projects. But now it's become like this charity thing, right? Like, hey, my friend's house just got flooded. He's lost everything.
that
Please help
yeah.
him out. Here's his GoFundMe. You're like,
Look,
fuck.
man, GoFundMe is not the problem. It's the problem of the country itself. Like, especially the United
No,
States,
I exactly that. You're right. GoFundMe isn't the
like
problem. I'm not
we're
saying
like with a
GoFundMe.
whole bunch of GoFundMe pages are just like, can you pay for my health treatment? I'm trying to pay for my daughter's
But
health treatment or something. Like,
it's
it's in the absence of anything that they have there as a system. Like, GoFundMe is like one of the avenues that people are going to, right?
it's a sign of like how bad our system is that
Yes,
we need GoFundMe
yes, exactly.
to help these people because our society doesn't. we
Exactly.
don't
Yeah, 'cause
we don't have the
there's
avenue to.
nothing else there, right? There's nothing
Yeah.
else there.
Yeah, because I think there's a guy in our fighting game community. He's like he had like this health issue, and it was like nothing life threatening, but it was important for him to go to the hospital, and because of that, he had a huge bill and he just couldn't pay it, and he had to start a GoFundMe for the community to help him. I'm like, damn, it's really sad that they don't have healthcare.
Yeah, no, that is literally a critique of their system,
I
of
feel
the
like
society they live in.
I feel like with US, they see GoFundMe as a success. It's like, hey, someone solved our problem. We don't need
Yes,
healthcare now.
that's the
Like,
twisted part of it, isn't it? The people that are like champions of the system and advocated,
yeah,
they're like, yeah, look how great.
Bernie's gonna be like, this is why we need healthcare, da da da, and then the guy's like, but we have GoFundMe. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
taken
our
care of.
system created GoFundMe, and look how good it's doing and how what's
Yeah,
different.
look at the lives we saved, da da
Yeah.
da.
No, that's how they do it. And that's how they do it. That's how they frame it with a lot of things. And even the big picture stuff. That's how they frame it. And it's insanity. But they frame it like that and they have a large following that actually buys into that grift. Like it's literally it's just industrialized grift, you know. Like that there's no way to even like I don't know. There's no other way to describe it. All the gurus, the grifting gurus, all these fucking classes that try to teach
Wait,
you people for
you
grifting.
don't you're trying to say that there's legit gurus now,
I
like
don't
saying
know. Like,
grifting
sure,
gurus.
I don't know. Like I'm racking
Is
my
there
brain to think of if there's legit gurus or whatever. I
is
can't
there
come
a
up.
guru that's legit? Like someone who's like, yeah, he's a guru. I
Maybe
trust him.
someone out there exists. One in a billion and 7 billion people. Maybe one out there
Someone
exists.
has good intention,
That
who's
isn't a
really
grifter.
wise. He's just sharing the knowledge because he just wants people to do better. He doesn't want
Yeah.
any monetary return. That's the thing. Like, let's say you want to tell someone like, they look pretty kind of thing, but you don't want anything from them. And there's a social awkwardness where you tell someone, like, say, like, you tell someone like, oh, those are nice shoes or whatever, right? And that, but if you add the word, oh, I don't want anything from you, then they will think you want something from them. It's like the irony. You're like,
Yeah, because most of the transactions that occurs in society is, yeah, you want something from
yeah,
someone.
there's something. Yeah, you interact with someone because you want something. It's like
Yeah,
you can't just say, oh, you look nice today. I don't want anything from you. I just want to tell you, have a nice day, kind of thing. You can't just say that.
yeah. No, you can't say that to just someone random. You have to have already a prior relationship with that person for them to realize, oh, this isn't a transaction.
Yeah, like if you smile at a opposite sex person, they might think you're hitting on them or you you want something. It's like,
Whatever.
the
Some
awkwardness.
of them might just be like, yeah, you do it in a creepy way. You just gotta work on
And then if you have the word, oh, I'm not hitting on you or anything, then they'll think you hit on them. You're like,
that. Yeah,
curse of the
yeah.
irony.
Yes, unfortunately for you, we don't live in a time period where that's exactly acceptable yet. Maybe in your next reincarnation, when society has progressed even more, hopefully, then you can be able to.
People could take words
Then
for
you can be able to say
what they
these things to people without getting like punished for it.
are. Yeah, it's like when someone asks you how's everything and you say it's fine, and they don't think you're fine because you said things are fine. It's just like,
Yeah,
how do
yeah.
I tell them it's fine without telling them it's fine? That's the other TikTok trend. Tell me something without telling me something. I don't know. I've been following TikTok lately.
Oh man, maybe you can enlighten us with another episode on TikTok. Your forays into TikTok one of these days.
One day. All right. I guess that will wrap it up. We
Yeah, man,
touched the base of the gurus. We touched the base of
the two-man show.
the economy, vaccination.
Oh man, can people believe it? We didn't even plan for this.
So, like vaccination, I think North America is like around 60%. Europe is around 40, and everyone out in Asia is the next highest 20%.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think you'd have to look at individual countries instead of the
Oh, like a
continents
globe.
and regions.
Well, actually, Phil was telling me China's like speeding up on vaccination recently.
Yeah, they rocketed up. Remember last time I said, remember last time, what was that, maybe a month ago? I
Yeah,
said like, yeah, it didn't seem urgent to them back at that point. And even though the government was like urging people you should get vaccinated, it's also
yeah, they
from
were
like
tempting you with like
over.
ice cream or something. Yeah,
Yeah. Now it's like they got their shit together and they're driving it.
is
Like
it because of Delta? Is it? Are they worried about their?
a bit of it is they're like, yeah, look at India, that's fucking right on fire, right? But also, yeah, it also lit the fire under people's asses. But and then the government was like, I guess the government organized itself to be like, yeah, let's also put vaccines at pretty much one of the highest priorities as well, right? And so now there's like hundreds of millions that get vaccinated. They're probably gonna vaccinate everybody by you know in the next couple months or whatever.
Yeah. Hmm.
It's like the benefits of a society that still follows like the foundations of a planned I guess a planned economy,
Mhm.
like people should seriously take these things seriously. And like we in Canada, we should take this thing seriously. Don't like get out of that Cold War mindset and be like, yo, if you're just gonna turn socialist, just turn socialist then. Like whatever, just take some things that work that you like that are clearly beneficial to you. Like just do it, right? You already do it for the fucking dairy industry, for God's sake, right? Like just expand that to more like strategic things, like oil or whatever, right? Like food, medicine, health equipment, at least,
That'd be
whatever,
interesting.
right? Like
Subsidize oil.
you leave whatever, whatever. PlayStation 5s, yeah, leave that to the free market or whatever. But like, might as well start planning for some of the more strategic things, like
Yeah,
it's
you
in our interest.
can't let someone run the show all the time.
Yeah.
But for the China vaccine, are they still using their own vaccine? I thought
They
the
got
one the issue is they weren't confident in the
no,
local
they
made.
no, I mean the if you read the news, you won't be confident, but they're pretty confident. I mean like I don't know if you were reading the new studies or the new phase the new what do they call them? I guess the studies, the trials that came out, the more definitive trials, and it was more of the normal around like the ballpark of like 80% effective around there for like Sinovac or even Sinopharm. They have a
Oh,
couple different
that's good.
vaccines, but
80's good.
like the efficacy of the vaccines just became a political. It just became like a headline
Yeah, it
political
is.
thing, right? And like in China, because in some ways it's the firewall isolates them from just all this like really shitty journalism. Like there wasn't a widespread doubt of its vaccines. It was basically like they work as intended. And and obviously everybody knows it's like the mRNAs are the highest efficacy ones, right? But no one was saying like, oh, that means ours are like
Well,
garbage.
that's the problem with efficacy because efficacy is when they also ran the trials, right? So Pfizer and Moderna, the reason they're more successful is also because during that time, there were a lot more lockdowns, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So there's more chance of success. Whereas when like AstraZeneca and Johnson came, where things were being lifted again, people were getting sick again. So then the efficacy got weaker. So
Yeah.
like because they're not testing in the same environment. Like different time periods has different
No,
conditions.
yeah, and especially different depending on each in what country because of what they like. The trials are not standardized across all countries, right?
Yeah,
They evaluate it differently, so that's where you can get the difference in numbers. But
yeah,
like the main part was basically like they work, right? Most of all these
yeah.
vaccines, work, even the
I think
Russian
what you're
one.
looking for is do they work and what is the potential harm, right? So
Yeah,
like the blood
exactly.
clots was a fair concern, which kind of screwed Johnson Johnson. But now I think that has gone, and I think, but even now with Johnson & Johnson, they still can't get people to take it because of the
Yeah.
lower efficacy, and because of the news, and so
Yeah, like the headlines really screw up with people's perceptions, right?
yeah,
And even if
media is a
it
is a devil in a sense.
is more of a detriment now than anything else. Like especially with mainstream media,
Hmm.
literally it is a detriment. And that's one of the appeals that Trump did because he basically just said, "Yeah, the mainstream media is a bunch of fucking
But
lies,"
it
and he wasn't
plays,
wrong.
yeah,
And
it plays so much into our fears, and
it
that's an
does.
issue.
I feel like people should just be more scrutinizing and critical of all media, like even
Would you,
your mainstay ones. Be
you
critical
would
of it.
only scrutinize it if you're secure about yourself. But
Yeah,
if you're when you're insecure, like media just takes over.
I think like people just put way too much trust in the media itself. Like it just without question, whatever they write, you're taking it as in like, well, this is probably the official. This is probably official. This is probably it works, and that's part of the reason why you're getting a bunch of anti whatever like crazy stupid people that are just not trusting
Yeah.
of anything anymore. They just lost like the compass of what to even trust because of all this shit. But I mean, and the media is really doing a disservice. And
Hmm.
people should scrutinize it. They should be asking way more of the media, like demanding way more
Hmm.
scrutiny and like evidence of everything that they say.
Hmm.
Right? And especially national media, like local media, whatever. Like that's the local
Well,
news
actually,
stories.
local media is the more trustworthy one because local media is the ones that
You're there,
often,
yeah. You can probably, yeah. It's
I
it's
think,
more it's more like stories like around in the city. You can really you can't. There's only so much leeway you can actually try to
I heard
spin
like
something.
local media they tend to like solve a lot of the crimes, like the long ongoing crimes, like rapists or like killers, serial killers and stuff. Seems like local medias are the ones that kind of finds um clues for investigators and stuff.
Yeah, you don't
It's-
get much. You don't get much like insane like opinion columns in local media because there's only so much that you can actually really write about. It's but in the major media, that's
Mm.
when you get just the sheer insanity from it,
The problem
right?
with major media is that it's too much about the money, whereas local media is wanting to share about your community, right? But the problem with local media is they don't get enough funding, whereas major media, I think, gets
Yeah,
too much
and they're
funding.
all either or whatever in some form. They end out to be affiliates of the major medias,
But yeah,
right?
exactly. That's another problem. They
Yeah.
become affiliates.
I
So
mean, if we let the media, if China just let the media run its course, if there was no Great Firewall in this case, and there was like like whatever, just let it run free. Like you would get anti-vaxxers in China, you would get people that would say like don't get the vaccine, this is
uh,
all a hoax.
you still get that. You just don't hear about them as often
No,
because
yeah,
they're
they're
behind the
suppressed.
firewall. They're
They're they're
suppressed. Yeah,
they're actually suppressed. Like this is not like people will be like, no, you can't say this shit.
we
This is
don't
not a
we
hoax.
don't
This virus
suppress
is
our
not a hoax,
shows. Yeah.
right? And like, and that's what you want. You want to you do actually like. I'm not like for complete unfettered free speech. I don't believe there's such a thing. It always comes out from some interest group, all right? I like that's just how it is. Like there's no god of free speech that just determines what is truly free.
Hmm.
And in like cases like if you apply it properly, like you suppress the voices that are just completely batshit insane, right? Then you serve your purpose, and like that's how like you get places where like I don't know, like the example I would pull out is like Singapore, where you do have to put in some kind of like suppression of just insane voices so you don't have like an ethnic cleansing in that city. I mean, same thing for
Yeah.
this for COVID. Like a part of the reason why the citizenry is like didn't question like, oh, should I get the vaccine or not, or should I follow these measures, is because they're like, no, you just follow these measures. Anyone that's saying that this is not a big deal, as saying that this is just a hoax and vaccine, they're idiots. Like you'll just basically be charged for it. And like in some of these places that people tout as bastions of free media, like in Taiwan, you get a $300,000 Taiwan dollar fine if they catch you spreading hoaxes about like COVID, and they have it displayed. when Chen Shizhong, the health guy, the health minister guy in Taiwan, does his press releases from the media, he has this big sign that says any kind of like unsubstantiated rumors for COVID, well, fine, $300,000 new Taiwanese dollars, right? I mean, like, like you gotta have something like that that stops the crazies from having some sort of footholds, and in the end, you will be better from it. And the fears that, oh no, but what if what if you suppress something, then the truth doesn't get through, and then the motherfucker, like you are playing towards like a fucking an imagined enemy here. I mean, like in the age of like smartphones and the interconnectivity of everything, like how even back then it's very hard for you to suppress anything of note. It's even more impossible now. Like you're not worried. Don't The worry is not about oh what about the suppressed truth. No, it's about the fucking distorted truth that's getting propagated. That is the main thing, right?
Hmm.
And and I just you'll see how it goes, I guess.
Exactly. All right. Well, let's close it up.
All right, man. All right, man. It's nice. Well, soon we'll be able to all meet up in person to do this.
Soon.
Hopefully. All right, man. You take care. And to
Thanks.
all our listeners, tune in next time. Maybe the full crew will be here. Yeah, it was kind of short notice, I guess.
You make it
Unavailable.
maybe make it you make it sound like they may never return.
They will return. It's just that right now they're just too busy. I don't know, masturbating.
Oh, there's so many things in the world. They
Masturbating over Zoom.
could be getting their vaccines and all that. So,
Right.
anyways,
All
we
right.
will
Hope you
have
enjoyed
another
the show.
show.
Yes, yes. All right. See you, everybody. Like, comment, and subscribe. All five
Bye
of
bye.
you. Okay. Bye.